Continuing on to our next sentence pattern, we're going to look at subject plus action verbs, and we're going to add in indirect objects if we have direct objects. And we do not have a sentence pattern that is subject plus action verb plus indirect object. You cannot have an indirect object unless there's a direct object. So we're going to go through the same exact steps that we've been going through, asking the same questions, but now when we get to the end, we're going to add a new question. After we've found our direct object, we're going to look for an indirect object by asking the questions to whom or for whom. So, first step always is we look for prepositional phrases. We lent the producer our house until summer. Until summer is a prepositional phrase. So now we look for our subject. We. What did we do? We lent. It's an action verb because it's not one of the verbs we had to memorize for a linking verb. We lent whom or what. Now this is where it gets a little bit tricky because we really could answer the question, we lent whom? We lent the producer. But if we think about that, that doesn't really make sense. You can't lend a producer to somebody else. And that's not what the sentence is talking about. We lent what? We lent our house. Now that we found a direct object, we've got a modifier here, and I see that there's something left between our action verb and direct object. So that's when we look for our IO. It comes in the middle of the action verb and the DO. We lent our house to whom or for whom did we lend our house? We lent our house to the producer. So there is our indirect object. The next sentence says, she offered us free movie passes for Friday. We look for a prepositional phrase for Friday. Find our subject, she. What did she do? She offered. She offered whom or what? And we have to think about this. Do you offer a person or she offered a what? She offered passes. Since we found a direct object, we're going to go one more step now and ask, she offered passes to whom or for whom? Did she offer the passes? She offered the passes to us. So there's my indirect object. I've got some modifiers in here. What kind of passes? Movie passes. Free movie passes. Now the next sentence is where we come into some trouble, but if we go through our steps and follow our rules, it shouldn't be too bad. She offered the passes to us. We look for our prepositional phrases, to us, and we eliminate it. We don't look at it anymore. She offered the passes. So our subject is she. She offered, looks a lot like the sentence above us. She offered what? She offered passes, still the same. And so if I thought that I needed to keep going, I might say she offered the passes to whom? She offered the passes to us, and label this as an indirect object. And we have two problems here. Number one, this is already doing a job. It's a prepositional phrase. And the second problem is that we can't have a direct object and then an indirect object. It has to be before the DO. So we see a couple reasons why that doesn't work. So we've got the exact same meaning between both of these sentences, but again we come back to the structure of the sentence changes how it's being used. So then we went to our God's book and found some practice sentences in there. Poseidon gave her a pearl necklace. If I look in there, I see no prepositional phrases, so I'm going to go right to looking for my subject. The sentence is about Poseidon. What did Poseidon do? Poseidon gave. That's an action verb. Poseidon gave. Whom or what did Poseidon give? Poseidon gave a necklace. So now I look for an indirect object because I see some words left between my direct object and my action verb. Poseidon gave a necklace. To whom or for whom did he give a necklace? He gave a necklace to her. So there's my indirect object. Subject plus action verb plus IO plus DO. My father gave me a mini thunderbolt. I look for anything I can get rid of. I don't see any prepositional phrases, so I go to my subject. Sentence is about father. What did father do? Father gave. Look for my direct object. Father gave. Whom or what did Father give? Father gave a thunderbolt. Since I have some words left in the middle, I'd ask Father gave a thunderbolt. To whom or for whom did he give a thunderbolt? To me. So there's my sentence pattern. Make me a silver bow and quiver of silver arrows. Now this is a little bit of a different sentence again. And so we've got a new concept, a new idea we're going to look at, but we're going to go through the same steps. We're going to find our prepositional phrases of silver arrows. And I'm going to look for my subject, and it says, make me a silver bow and quiver. And if I look at this sentence, I'm having a hard time finding my subject. And so sometimes it might be easier to look for the verb. It's very easy to know that make is a verb. It's something you can do. And who is it talking about doing the making? And this is a command. When we have a command, our subject is you. If I said do your homework, you know that I'm talking to you. I don't have to say, you do your homework. It's understood. So we call that an understood you. So there's my subject. You make what does it want you to make? You make a bow and a quiver. So there I have two direct objects. So I want to find my indirect object. You make a bow and quiver of arrows. For whom? For me. So there's my indirect object. And I introduced this here because we're going to start looking at varied sentence types, and this is a sentence types that I know that students have learned in the past, so it's just should be more of a review. He gave Zeus the idea of a disguise. I look for my prepositional phrase of a disguise. I'm left with he gave Zeus the idea. The subject is he. What did he do? He gave. What did he give? He gave an idea. He gave the idea to whom or for whom? He gave the idea to Zeus. And our last sentence, give me your golden staff. I don't see a prepositional phrase in there, so I'm going to go right to finding my subject. Give me your golden staff. And me isn't the sentence, or isn't the subject. So I come back to this where I'm having trouble finding my subject, so I'm going to go with my verb first. Give. Give is an action verb. Who is it talking about giving? It's not saying me give or the staff give. It sounds like it's a command. So we've got that understood you again. There's our subject. You give. I look for my direct object. You give whom or what? You give staff. You give a staff to whom or for whom. You give the staff to me. So there's my indirect object. And so this is the sentence pattern that looks at subject plus action verb plus io and dio. And we're going to continue practicing this, but I've got the steps listed on my website so that as students need to continue practicing this, they can try to do it independently or print this page off again and try doing it themselves and then watch the screencast to check themselves.